Superman's disguise has always sparked debate. How can a pair of glasses and a slightly messy hairstyle be enough to hide the identity of one of the most powerful beings on Earth? This concept, repeated for decades in comics, movies, and animations, became a running joke. But when we take a closer look, we realize that the idea makes much more sense than it seems. Before we look at Superman's case, it's important to understand why superheroes hide who they really are in the first place. There are two main reasons. One, to protect those around them. When a hero makes powerful enemies, anyone close to them becomes a target. Hiding their identity is a way to protect friends, family, and even co-workers. Two, to keep a separate civilian life. Many heroes had public lives before becoming vigilantes. If exposed, it could damage their reputations, careers, or businesses. Bruce Wayne, for example, is a globally known billionaire. If people found out he was Batman, it would endanger his companies, his safety, and his allies. The same logic applies to heroes like Spider-Man or Iron Man. With Superman, the disguise works in the opposite way. The blue and red suit, with the cape and the emblem on his chest, isn't meant to hide him. On the contrary, that's the identity in full view. Clark Kent is actually the disguise, the attempt to live as a regular human being. When Clark puts on glasses and wears ordinary clothes, he's not hiding, he's blending in. The goal is to go unnoticed, walk among people, work, talk, observe, and understand how humans think and feel. This is all part of his mission. This approach ties directly to his origin. When he was sent to Earth, his biological father, Jor-El, explained that Kal-El's true purpose was to know humanity, get close to them, build empathy, and find his place in the world. To do that, he had to live among them, without the distance his heroic image would naturally create. Think about how the human brain reacts to visual stimuli. If someone walks into a room wearing a mask, they immediately draw attention. A mask triggers curiosity. Who's behind it? What are they hiding? That automatically creates a desire to uncover the person's identity. But someone without a mask, dressed plainly, acting modestly, they're ignored. They blend into the crowd. That's exactly what Clark Kent does. He doesn't draw interest, doesn't trigger anyone's curiosity. His face is visible, but his body language is reserved, his voice sounds different, and his posture is less confident. The contrast with Superman is big enough that people don't connect the dots. Another key factor is that Superman's image isn't surrounded by secrets. From the moment he started acting publicly, he made it clear he was an alien from another planet. He told his story, his origins, his arrival on Earth, his purpose. In other words, he doesn't raise suspicion because he has nothing to hide. While heroes like Batman create distrust precisely because they stay anonymous, Superman generates trust by being transparent. And that leads to an interesting effect. Even if someone thinks Clark Kent looks like Superman, it's easier to dismiss it as a coincidence than to believe he actually is the hero. Of course, this disguise isn't perfect. Someone who interacts with both Clark Kent and Superman regularly, like Lois Lane, will start to notice something is off. That's why, in most modern stories, whether in comics, movies, or animations, Clark eventually reveals his identity to Lois. It respects her intelligence and strengthens the bond between them. The logic is simple. Clark may fool the general public, but he can't hide his true self from someone who shares personal, intimate, and constant moments with both sides of his life. Clark Kent's disguise might look simple, but it's surprisingly effective. It doesn't rely on masks or advanced technology. What makes it work is the fact that it doesn't attract attention. He blends in with everyday behavior, routine, and the image of an ordinary person. And since Superman is already a public figure, people don't feel the need to question his identity. So even though it might seem naive or even ridiculous at first glance, Superman's disguise has solid logic behind it. It's a way for him to stay connected to humanity, to relate to people, and to fulfill his true role, being a bridge between two worlds.